And all of a sudden, I hear, and I'm like, it's time, it's time. So I'm like, come in. And in walks this person in a beautiful professional dress with no dog. Hey guys, it's Hope. Welcome back to my channel. And today we are doing the story of how Mr. Leader and I met, because yesterday was our 6-year anniversary. June 25 was the day that I first met my guide dog. We've had 6 long, happy years together as a guide dog team, and I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to share how I got him and how we met. So grab a cup of coffee, grab a cup of tea, whatever you prefer, and let's jump right into the story. So when I was 6 years old, my vision teacher, or orientation and mobility instructor, brought me a book. It was about this woman named Sarah, and she went around with her guide dog leading the way. And this was my first introduction to guide dogs that I remember. And from that time, when I was 6, I really wanted a guide dog. Now, in order to get a guide dog, I had to be very good at my white cane skills, which I was not, because I didn't want to use it. I didn't want people to think that I was different. And so I didn't use my cane for a very long time. But during the summer of my 7th and 8th grade years, I went to this camp for blind people, and I met a lot of very nice women who were guide dog users. And I was talking to them about their guides, and I basically said, I really am thinking about getting a guide dog. What are the things that I need to do to be ready for a guide dog? And one person said, Hope, if you want a guide dog, you have to use your cane. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm pulling the cane out. So I went home, grabbed my white cane, and started marking off everywhere that I went with it. And I used my cane 51 times that summer, and I was so excited to come back to my orientation and mobility instructor and tell her that I had used my cane all summer long and that I was ready for a dog. And so when I was 16 years old, I went to this guide dog camp for teens. And there we learned about O&M some more, and we got to do some fun things like go rock climbing and things like that. But one of the coolest things is that we were matched with a dog in training for the day to learn how it would feel to work a guide dog. So I got matched with a very cute, very spicy young girl named Delta April, and they let us hang out with the dogs for a little bit, and then they took us into the local town to work our dogs. And as soon as I picked up the harness handle, I decided, this is what I want. This is exactly what I need. I need a guide dog at my side. End of story. After that, I needed some speed rounds of O&M just to get my skills all the way up to where they needed to be in order to qualify for a guide dog. So I went back to the same campus for what they called their advanced orientation and mobility course. And I literally spent a week working on my cane skills, working on crossing streets, finding things, learning how to orient myself in the subdivision and or the city, things like that. And then I came home, and in my sophomore year, I went to another guide dog campus where I got him, and they had this event called the Guide Dog Experience. And so there we got to walk with a dog around their little freedom path for a minute with a blindfold on. And I walked with a very sweet Labrador named Martin, and I learned, again, that this is what I wanted. I solidified in my brain that this is what I wanted to have. I applied for a dog from that campus that summer. And it's a long process to get approved for a guide dog. And so I applied in May or June. And the field representative from that school called me in August or September and scheduled a home interview with me. So this basically means that they came out to my house and they saw where I was living, and they learned about my lifestyle. They learned that I might go back to doing cheerleading, that I'm a very active person. They learned about my personality. They learned what he would be doing, which at this point was guiding me to and from my classes in high school. And then they also heard that he was going to go with me to college. So they learned all this stuff. Then they watched me as I worked a route, crossing streets and things like that around my subdivision. And then we did a Juno walk. So that basically means that the field rep had a harness that she put on, and I worked the harness like I was working a dog. And so from that, they learned how fast I want to walk, the pace and pull for the harness, like how hard the pull should be into the harness for me, and things like that. So that whole thing was about, I don't know, an hour, hour and a half. And then I waited for a very long time. And I will never forget the day that I got the call that I was gonna get my dog. I was sitting in the family room studying for a final exam because high school junior, and the phone rings, and you know, there are lots of telemarketers, and so I was like, I'll let the answering machine get it, and then if it's anyone important, I'll run to pick it up. And so it rings and rings. So the answering machine picks it up, and it says, you know, hello, we're from your guide dog school. We have you slotted for a class in June. And I drop the iPad where I was studying my Quizlet, and I run for the phone. I'm like, hello? And I pick it up. I'm like, hello? And she told me that I was slotted to come in on June 24 if that worked for me, and come to class to get my dog. That they had a dog ready for me. And so I was like, okay, thank you so much. She's giving me all this information. I'm like, please hang up before I just lose my mind. So she finally hung up, and first thing I did was I ran around the house screaming because I was home alone, and I was so excited to get my dog that I ran around the house screaming. And then I called my mom, who was at work, and I was like, Mom, I got slotted for my class dates. I'm going to guide dog class. I'm gonna go get my guide dog. And she was so happy for me. And then I think I called my sister, and then I think I called my dad. And then I didn't want to let the words slip out until I saw my friends in person, because the way that it works at my school is that finals are half days for the entire last week of school. They called me on Thursday. The last day of school was on Friday. So I was gonna go see all my friends on Friday for our last day of school. So I'm like, wait, don't tell anyone, because I'm gonna come and I'm gonna tell them. And so Friday comes, I go into school and I tell them that I have a class date, that they've selected a dog for me. So they were so excited for me, and June 24th could not come soon enough. So the way that guide dog class works is that you have to go alone. So my parents dropped me off at the airport, and then an airport employee helped me to my gate, and we're all ready to go to get my guide dog. So I get to the airport, and one of the guide dog trainers is waiting for me. So she picks me up, takes me to the school, And then Sunday afternoon and evening is basically get set up in your room, go through orientation of the building, make sure that we know where the dining hall is, where the lecture hall is, where we're gonna go outside and practice obedience, like all of this stuff. And then obviously where our room is. And then we also sign all the paperwork and make sure everything is in order and have dinner together. So my class size was 9 students and 4 trainers. So Sunday evening, we all go to the lecture hall to hear about how the guide dog meetup process is going to work for tomorrow. And then we all get a leash to start breaking in before we get our dog. And so all of us students are sitting in the lounge area playing with our leashes and getting them warmed up and everything. Monday, we get up, we go eat breakfast, and then Monday morning, they had us try a dog from the previous string. So not our class ready dogs, but dogs from the string behind them, so that they could better understand what we were looking for and what we needed. And then they also took some of us aside to just re-ask us questions about our lifestyle and where we live and how we travel and things like that. So we did that, and then we had a luncheon and we learned about the breeding program and a couple of the other programs and things that my guide dog school does to keep the guide dog program running and strong. Finally, we all go back to the lecture hall and we all sit down, and the trainers come in and they all tell us what our dogs are going to be. So they tell us breed, gender, and name. So for me, they said, your dog is going to be a yellow Labrador male named Leader. So I was so excited. And then they reminded us what we were all going to do to prepare for our dogs, and then what we were going to do when our dogs came in. So basically, the process is that the trainers will bring one dog at a time and they'll bring it to the door. We will be waiting in the designated chair beside our bed for the knock on the door, and then we will say, come in. When we hear the knock, the dog and the trainers will come in. They will tell us, call your dog. We will call the dog by name. The dog will come. And then what they do is the passing of the baton, or the leash in this case. So we would put our new leash that we had just gotten the night before onto the dog, and the trainer would take their leash off of the dog. After they gave us all those reminders and everything, they sent us back to our rooms and said, go wait for your dogs. So I go back to the room. I don't know when this is gonna happen, so I literally spent the entire time sitting in the designated chair, waiting for the knock to happen. And all around me, through the walls, I can hear people saying hi to their dogs and getting so excited and choking up and everything. I can hear it all. And I'm just so excited waiting for my dog. And all of a sudden, I hear, and I'm like, it's time, it's time. So I'm like, come in, come in. And in walks this person in a beautiful professional dress with no dog. And I'm just like, oh no, what happened? What's wrong? So she comes in, she gets herself all set up. Of course, I'm looking a little panicked, and she looks at me and she goes, oh no, don't worry, I'm the videographer. I'm just here to film the whole thing. Your dog will be here in a second. And I'm just like, oh my word. And then I hear, and I am like, come in. And they come in, all 4 trainers and my dog, and they say, call your dog. And I say, Leader, come. and he came sprinting to me. The door is on my left all the way at the back of the room, and then I'm sitting next to the windows on the far side all the way around my bed. So this dog had to come through the door and then walk all the way around to get to me. And he runs over, and the first thing that he did was roll over on his back for belly rubs. So I take his collar and transition our leashes out. So I put on his leash, the trainer takes off her leash, and they say, okay, we're gonna give you about 5 minutes. Remember to use his name often, talk to him, just bond with him. Take a few minutes just to get to know him and pet him and talk to him. And so they leave us alone. We're in the room. I'm petting him. I'm freaking out a little bit. And then everybody leaves, including the videographer. They all leave. We have 5 minutes to hang out and to get to know each other. And then the real work starts. They take us outside. They have a bunch of obedience stuff for us to do. Tuesday, we get our harnesses. We learn how to use them. And then for the rest of the 3 weeks, we are learning all of their commands, all of the training, everything. On July 12th, about 2 days before graduation, we all go into the lecture hall again for the umpteenth time at this point. And the trainers take turns reading the contract that we'll have to sign, basically making us the official owners of our dogs. So I signed that on July 12th, and he became officially my dog. July 13 or 14, we graduated from the program and got to go home. And from then on, I've had him, and he's gone through a lot with me. He went through my senior year of high school. We graduated high school together. He went through all 4 years of college with me, and we graduated college together. We got our first job together, and everything in between. And he's given me so much freedom and so much confidence and everything. And I'm so happy to have had him for 6 years. I really just wanted to take this time and share with you how we met and our story. So I hope you liked this video. Please comment below if you have any questions. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you all in the next video, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day.